Where have all the people gone? The strangest business phenomenon has emerged. It's as if 1.4 billion people collectively quit eating. Restaurant owners say no one's dining out anymore. Everyone's buying groceries to cook at home. But market stall owners ask, where are the grocery shoppers? They're all ordering takeout on platforms. Actually, there are fewer and fewer people now. Big cities don't seem as crowded as before. Some people say there aren't many people left in rural areas either. And small and medium cities are also losing population. Where have all the people gone? Where exactly did they go? Everyone, what happened to the streets of Shanghai? Shipu Road used to be packed on weekends, but now shops are closing one after another, and it feels eerily empty. The aquarium is deserted, and even under the Oriental Pearl Tower, the crowds lining up for photos are gone. It's the same in the countryside. You can't even see any young people. Marriage rates and birth rates have been declining year after year, drastically changing the population structure. On the streets, it's mostly just elderly people and single young adults. There are fewer and fewer people in Shenzhen too. I visited a friend in Guangming district today and clearly noticed fewer people. There are fewer people on the streets and fewer diners in restaurants. Dianbei has truly become a ghost town. Even in the most central areas, there are only deserted fields. Real estate that used to sell for over 19,000 per square meter now drops to 10,000. And still nobody wants it. I bought a bun, and the vendor auntie said business has dropped a lot and she doesn't know where all the people went. Even a big city like Shenzhen has become eerily quiet. In Xi'an, walking any street now feels like people have suddenly disappeared. On Douyin, many industries are posting crazy boss lady videos because there are no customers. In Zhengzhou, a big city, there were no people at the subway station at 9:55 p.m. Harbin also feels empty these days. No people, not even cars. It's scary. It's Friday, but there's no one in the store and no one on the streets. Idle housing has appeared in large numbers across the country. China claims a 1.4 billion population, but massive online videos show a sharp decline. Restaurant owners complain about cold business. Vegetable vendors and delivery riders also suffer fewer customers. Household food purchases rose only 5.7%, while dining out fell 36%, leaving a huge gap. Some say city folks return to the countryside, but the countryside also feels empty, like a ghost town. In Suzhou, I work in loans, and my clients have significantly decreased. The city center of Tongren, Guizhou province, has turned into a ghost town. Streets are empty. Wuhan, a city with a population of millions, has almost empty streets. Many counties in Chongqing are also desolate, with entire apartment buildings almost unoccupied. Population decline in Shenzhen has made it hard for the real estate market to revive. Hangzhou streets are now empty. The bustling crowds are gone forever. Netizens say that cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Hangzhou, and Guangzhou have significantly fewer people, even at airports and train stations. Both urban and rural areas are reporting fewer people. Massive vacant houses in villages with only a few elderly residents left. A drone captured footage of Fujian's largest abandoned village, now home to only 3 people. In Danjianka City, once lively streets are now empty. Though the streets are clean and the buildings intact. Urbanization once drew villagers to cities, but now even city populations are declining sharply. Bloggers question China's 1.4 billion population claim, as bustling malls and stations are now deserted.
China, the world's second-largest economy, faces an unprecedented economic crisis, hit hard by the U.S.-China trade war and prolonged deflation. Experts warn this is a historic turning point, impacting not just China but the global economy. Collapsing exports, a crashing property market, soaring unemployment, and record economic protests are dragging China into a dangerous downturn. Widespread fake goods, social issues like the Zhengzhou night market explosion, and debates over COVID-19's origins add pressure on Beijing. Notably, Vietnam's strategic pivot to the U.S. exposes weaknesses in the Chinese Communist Party's CCP foreign policy. This analysis explores every facet of the crisis, uncovering causes, consequences, and challenges China faces amid geopolitical tensions and internal unrest. We'd love your feedback. Comment, share this video with friends, and don't forget to like and subscribe to China Undercover for more in-depth analyses of China's economy and society. Your support keeps us delivering valuable content. Once vibrant markets, buzzing with buyers and sellers, now stand silent. Baskets of fresh fruit, symbols of abundant harvests and hope, lie piled up, ignored, and gathering dust. Farmers face their life's work with despair, their eyes reflecting only pain and helplessness. Selling means losing money. Keeping means watching it rot. A cruel cycle with no escape. Even rock-bottom prices don't move the goods. Holding prices to maintain quality? The market turns away coldly. In life's rush, fruit becomes a burden, and farmers' pain grows daily, like wounds that never heal. One vendor, earning just 10 yuan a day, throws a fruit basket to the ground in anger, releasing a lifetime of struggle. A Hainan farmer, voice trembling, says, "I'd never bulldoze tons of mangoes, my year's work, unless I was pushed to the brink." A fruit wholesaler facing a fresh shipment says bitterly, "People ask if the fruit business is good. Here's the answer. The goods arrived, unopened, and they're already rotting inside." She explains that with such bad stock, she can only call it bad luck. She can't sell, but won't let customers pay for poor quality. At Babu's largest fruit market, sugar oranges hit record low prices. Yet buyers are few, leaving huge piles of oranges rotting by the roadside, a painful symbol of an industry's collapse. Netizens lament, Guangxi mangoes are cheaper than ever, just 1.6 yuan per kilogram, the lowest in my 5 years in the trade. I bought 50,000 kilograms to sell cheap, guaranteed sweet, or your money back. But the harsh reality is consumers are broke. One says, eating fruit is a luxury now. I have mouth ulcers, but I'd rather buy vitamin B2. It's cheaper. Another notes high transport costs, fuel, tolls, labor, wipe out profits, trapping fruit in production areas. The result? Crops rot in fields while city shipments are priced too high for most to afford. This year's golden berry harvest was a disaster. A bumper crop led to massive oversupply, leaving farmers hopeless. Traders offered such low prices that farmers crushed the berries on the spot rather than take them home. Netizens rage, golden berries are bland this year, no sweetness, no tang. Maybe not enough sun? Blueberries face the same fate. A farmer says, in days prices fell to a quarter of before. We fed them to pigs. We couldn't sell. A user says bitterly, you can't sell, I can't buy. Everything's too costly and the fruit small. It's not that we don't want it, we can't afford it. Watermelons, grapes, chilies, no crop escapes this tragedy. Grapes hit 0.3 yuan per half kilogram, yet no one buys, leading to entire fields being dumped. High-quality watermelons, sweetness level 14, guaranteed by farmers, sit unsold in empty markets with no trucks in sight. A viral video shows a Hainan farmer trampling unsold chilies, priced at just 0.3 yuan per kilogram after Lunar New Year. A year's hard work vanishes in despair. Farming is no longer just a job, it's a path to loss. The U.S.-China trade war adds fuel to the fire. With U.S. tariffs at 245% on Chinese goods and China's 125% on U.S. goods, export fruits like apples, pears, grapes, and oranges can't compete. The U.S. market, a key destination for Chinese produce, is nearly closed. Farmers who poured sweat and investment into land and crops now face overflowing warehouses and crushing debt. Rising production costs, scarce water, costly fertilizers mean they struggle with low prices and financial strain. Natural disasters worsen the tragedy. Tornadoes, sandstorms, and fierce storms destroy greenhouses and crops. In Jiquai, farmers sit stunned amid ruins, hands trembling, begging for a way to survive. Their lives, from hope to sweat, are swept away in moments. A Shandong TikToker, standing in a field of unsold cabbages, chokes up, each cabbage leaf is a drop of sweat, a spark of hope. Now they rot in the field. Seeing this, I feel hope itself is rotting. Chinese farmers are not just victims of an economic crisis. They're lone fighters battling unfair markets, harsh nature, and brutal trade policies. They're the soul of the nation, yet abandoned in a global storm. Will China hear the cries from its fields? Or will these farmers' sweat be buried under the rubble of a crumbling economy?
We might really not be able to hold on much longer. Because honestly, we've been struggling for an incredibly long time. Right now, we're at one of MOBA's warehouses. Just this single warehouse alone covers more than 6,000 square meters, and it's fully stocked with all kinds of goods. We built MOBA little by little, fueled purely by passion and personal preferences, starting from zero to what we have now. But now walking through the warehouse and seeing all this unsold inventory, seeing even more goods stuck outside unable to come in, and knowing our factories are waiting for huge payments to be cleared, feels like we really can't hold on anymore. Making this decision has been incredibly hard.
China's fake goods, a shocking global issue. Beyond the economic crisis, China faces criticism for being a global hub of counterfeit goods. A 2024 U.S. Trade Representative report names China as the world leader in producing and distributing fake goods on a massive scale, listing 39 online markets and 33 physical markets as key hubs. From Louis Vuitton bags and Rolex watches to cosmetics and electronics, Chinese fakes flood domestic and global markets, costing brands billions. Yiwu, dubbed the capital of knockoffs, produces fakes at lightning speed. When a product trends, factories can create samples in one day and deliver in two. Other cities like Putian, fake shoes, Baigu, fake bags, Suzhou, fake cosmetics, and Qingdao, fake clothing, form a complete supply chain, from materials to packaging. But fakes don't just hurt the economy, they damage China's reputation. In Mexico, authorities shut down some Chinese goods markets for selling fakes and mislabeling origins, a move some Chinese media blamed on U.S. pressure. Yet Xiao argues the real issue is the unethical business culture of some Chinese firms, using low prices and poor quality at home and abroad. He calls for internal reforms to build an economy based on honesty and quality, not external blame. Vanishing Consumers, Silent Cities. In Wuhan, a lively city of 14 million, a strange economic phenomenon unfolds. Restaurants are empty, with no customers. Bustling shopping streets are now quiet, and malls are so deserted they feel like horror movie sets. This isn't just Wuhan. From Shanghai, China's economic hub, to smaller cities, the same scene repeats nationwide. Data shows dining out dropped 36.8%, while household grocery spending rose only 5.7%. People are retreating to their kitchens, avoiding spending, even skipping simple joys like eating out. The question echoes, where are the consumers? How are they surviving? Spending crisis. People drained dry. The answer is harsh. Chinese people's buying power is gone. Only 0.6% of the population, 8.5 million people, earns over 10,000 yuan per month. Most are trapped by costs. Home and car loans, medical bills, and kids' education consume over 80% of income. The World Bank, 2022, says household consumption is just 37% of China's GDP. Alarmingly low compared to the US, 68%, Japan, 56%, or India, 72%. Social welfare, like healthcare and safety nets, is only 6% of GDP, far below BRICS or developed nations. The result? Chinese people have no spare cash for anything beyond basics. Online comments reveal the pain. I eat one meal a day, cooked at home to save money. Breathing air is the only free thing. China's economic policies are driving the economy into a dead end. Stanford researcher Xu Cheng says the CCP's authoritarian system is the root cause. The CCP controls most economic profits through land and banks, leaving little for people. Consumption stimulus plans, like the Special Action Plan to Boost Consumption, are criticized as misguided. Oxford economist George Magnus stresses that weak consumption isn't about mindset. It's due to flawed macroeconomic and industrial policies favoring production over consumption. Instead of raising household incomes or improving welfare, the government focuses on industry subsidies, protecting inefficient firms and delaying needed reforms. The collapse of consumption isn't just an economic issue, it's a sign of a society losing vitality. From Shanghai's upscale districts to small towns, public spaces are silent, lacking the buzz of a global metropolis. China's key economic drivers, investment, exports, consumption, are all weakening. Foreign policy missteps, interference in private businesses, a distorted property market, and harsh pandemic controls have worsened the crisis. Without real reforms like privatization, better social welfare, and higher household incomes, China's economy will keep shrinking. threatening the regime's stability. Banking crisis, 200 banks vanish, deposits at risk. China's banking sector is in turmoil, with 200 small and medium-sized banks deregistered since 2024, surpassing the total of the previous 3 years combined. In the first half of 2024, 38,000 bank employees were laid off, and salaries at 30 listed banks dropped sharply, some from 30,000 NDT to under 10,000 NDT monthly. Customers face unprecedented challenges withdrawing money, such as a Hunan woman unable to access her 800,000 NDT, 110,000 deposit, covertly converted into investment products. Banks impose strict controls, requiring proof of fund origins or marriage certificates for routine withdrawals. Analysts attribute this to massive government bond issuances draining liquidity, as banks are forced to buy trillions in bonds. Non-performing loan ratios are soaring, with 100,000 foreclosed properties in Q1 2025 and only 14% transaction rates. Desperate to avoid defaults, banks offer leniency, but the growing stock of unsold foreclosed properties threatens financial stability. Beyond tariffs, the human cost of U.S.-China tensions. The U.S.-China conflict, fueled by a trade war with tariffs up to 145% on Chinese goods and 125% on U.S. imports, has escalated beyond commerce, sparking a humanitarian crisis for Chinese immigrants and students in the U.S. As of April 2025, about 40,000 Chinese citizens face deportation for overstaying visas, while 390,000 others living illegally in the U.S. are under tight surveillance. The U.S. has taken a hard stance, imposing heavy fines and potential asset seizures for noncompliance, signaling a stronger crackdown on illegal immigration from China. For Chinese students, the situation is equally dire. At least 500 international students, mostly Chinese, have had their F1 visas revoked, particularly those in science, engineering, and IT fields. On April 11, 2025, a UC Berkeley graduate student received an email stating their legal status was terminated, leaving their master's thesis incomplete. Similarly, 6 Stanford students lost library access when their IDs were deactivated, with one family revealing they paid $870,000 new in tuition over 3 years, only to be ordered to leave within days. At Cornell and Dartmouth, PhD researchers report abrupt visa terminations without clear explanations, highlighting the opaque nature of these decisions. The U.S. justifies these measures as national security necessities, citing concerns that the CCP uses students and scholars to gather intelligence or steal advanced technology. High-profile cases like the 2024 arrest of 5 Chinese students at the University of Michigan for filming military drills and the 2023 conviction of Ji Chaokun for espionage have fueled these fears. Executive Order 10043, issued during Trump's first term, banned students linked to the Chinese military from entering the U.S., and current policies expand scrutiny to academic funding and government ties. Critics argue this risks unfairly targeting innocent individuals, disrupting lives and alienating a generation of Chinese talent. China's consumption crisis isn't just numbers, it's a warning of a looming social crisis. Hundreds of millions live in poverty, with incomes barely covering essentials. Growing inequality, combined with trade war pressures and policy failures, could push society into chaos. China faces a historic crossroads: bold reforms to empower its people economically, or the risk of collapse from within. Experts are clear: China must change, or it will be crushed by its own mistakes.